like maybe you've plateaued professionally or you're not sure how to get to the next level, right? So my name is Bill Gallagher. I'm the scaling coach, host of the weekly Scaling Up Business podcast. We bring a few podcasts to you every week, videos, audio, whatever, wherever you get your podcast or video content like this, or at our website, scalingcoach.com. There are hundreds and hundreds of episodes and segments and tips and things like this at scalingcoach.com. You can find them all there. Search the back catalog. We've got things on getting your people working out, dialing in your strategy, getting the execution going better, dialing in the cash position of the company, optimizing that, as well as the leadership, how you deal with all of it, and developing yourself as a leader in the process. All that and more, scalingcoach.com. So let me tell you the story and talk about the fix here, the suggestion, the tip. So I'm working with this guy, a consulting business, a guy named Jim some years ago. And Jim really was frustrated. He couldn't see how to grow his business anymore. He didn't seem to be able to charge anymore for his rates. He was constrained by the capacity and the way that he worked. And he was complaining to me about how some of the other people in his industry made it seem so easy. So one of the things that we did is start to look at him. I always say that it's good news and bad news, that the source of all your problems is you. Now, the bad news is that it's a lot more fun to have everyone else be at fault or be to blame for when things aren't going right and to have somebody else work on it. But it's really good news because it's a lot easier to work on you than anyone else. So if you consider that you have the company you deserve and you deserve the company you have right now, one of the immediate insights is that if we level you up in some way, then we're going to make a difference in all that stuff around you, the business and so on. So that's in addition to all the scaling up kinds of tools and things like that we often bring to the team and to the business itself is that person. So we're going to deal with the person in the mirror, you, the person that is the cause and the center of your universe. If you consider that you are the root cause of all things, we want to get to how'd you get to be the way that you are? What's going on? So I started talking to Jim about how long he'd felt like this and been like this. And as he started to reflect back, he realized that this way of operating, this way of being in the world, his style of leadership is just something he's always had since he was very, very young and he couldn't remember. And as he shared with me some of his thoughts about himself and his as a character, like in the story of his life, he talked about his relationship with his dad. And I don't know how his dad actually was, but his experience of his dad was that he was never going to be good enough or live up to his dad. His dad was held a very, very high standard. And I don't know what his dad did or said or anything like to him, but he just felt like he was never going to be good enough. Right? So here's this guy trying to grow his business and develop and charge higher rates and accomplish more in his consulting business. And in the background, there's also this little boy who's never going to be good enough, right? That's like a burden he's carrying. Well, simply seeing something like a blind spot. We know this from things like the Johari window, right? Where we reveal, where something that's hidden from us is revealed to us about us, right? That's an insight. And the insight about yourself changes the way you see the world and then naturally begins to reorganize the way that you act in the world. And then, of course, the outcomes, the performance outcomes that you have. So you're going to take new actions because you see the world differently. Those new actions will be natural and normal to you. Anyway, in a very short period of time, he began to realize that he'd been carrying this burden of that he was never going to be good enough. And it was just nonsense from a kid who misunderstood his dad's feedback. And his dad, of course, loved him and just wanted him to be awesome and was always kind of pushing him on a little bit. But the kid interpreted all of this and then carried this like, I'm never going to be good enough. As he saw it, he also began to let go of it. It is one of the ways that he was capable of interpreting himself in his life, but not the only way. Having seen it, having noticed it, he started to have more flexibility and see himself and others around him in new ways. He quickly began to find new clients to work with, new places, new ways to charge new rates, and his business grew over the next year very well. So The good news and bad news is you've got the company you deserve, and you deserve the company you have, and you want to go to work on the person in the mirror. And the best way to do that is start to think about what is it that you can't be with the person you're looking with? What's uncomfortable for you? And how long's it been like that? Where did it start? Look all the way back. Most of the stuff that we suffer with, that we deal with, started when we were kids. There are patterns that have been reinforced and built in over time, constraining where we're comfortable and how we operate in the world. When you start to uncover that, you'll have the insights that change the way you see the world, and pretty soon you'll see new opportunities to grow and perform, to act in new ways, and you'll have the results to match. I hope that's been helpful. Again, like, subscribe to get these things every week. We'll talk to you again next time. Thanks. Keep scaling up.